Boston College, your parents are observant Catholics. Was it difficult for you to say yes to this project?
No, it wasn't. You know, the material's so compelling, I thought if anything, all that information that you just shared with this audience quite publicly thanks Scott, sort of gave me a foothold into the material and gave me a very specific point of view that I thought would be helpful.
Journalism is something that I believe became a particular interest of yours. Not that it wasn't an interest before, but through an acting role of yours, one of the acting roles that we most associate with you, and that is not, I guess I'd love to hear you talk about what it entailed. And this is on a little show people may have seen called The Wire. You played a guy who's not the best journalist in the world in some respects, but it exposed you as an individual to the inner workings of a newsroom. And I wonder if you can talk about how that shaped your interests and understanding of the business.
I joined The Wire in the 5th season, playing Scott Templeton, the slightly morally, ethically challenged reporter. But I did learn a lot then. You know, I learned a lot as an actor, digging into the material, what being a journalist is, sitting with journalists, spending time at the Baltimore Sun, and maybe most importantly, spending time with David Simon, not only a terrific storyteller, but a journalist and a man who remains, I think, one of the biggest fans of legacy journalism and a true champion of it. So, you know, I never planned on revisiting the material. I thought Simon did it incredibly well that season, but when this story sort of came across my desk, I couldn't resist it, and then I think I took a lot of what I learned on that show into this film.
You and Josh Singer, with whom you wrote the script, you guys, in a sense, inhabited the role of the characters that you were writing, because in terms of just digging into this story, you guys did a lot of investigative reporting yourselves and a lot of travel to another newsroom up in Boston. So can you talk about what that process was and what the sort of benefits of it were?
Yeah, I mean, there was no source material. Obviously, we were focused on the investigation. We had a lot of information about in the articles of what the paper ultimately published, but there wasn't a lot of information regarding the actual bits and pieces of the investigation. And so that's where we picked up. And the only way we could do that is by traveling to Boston and conducting hundreds of hours of interviews, ultimately, not only with the reporters and editors of the paper, past and present, but with everyone else associated with the story, lawyers, PR people, everyone of that sort. And then finally and gratefully, some of the survivors of the film that we meet, specifically Phil Saviano and Joe Crowley. And just because I unexpectedly ran into him on the carpet tonight, I didn't know he was going to be here. Phil Saviano is here tonight with us in this audience. Phil, if you're here, you can stand up and say your name.
Thank you.
Journalists are the heroes of the story, but the true heroes of the greater picture are the survivors of abuse who have the courage not only to come forward and share their stories, but like Phil, pick up the mantle and become true activists of change. And what he has done through SNAP and his work, we are all indebted to.
So there's this incredible, crazy story that you guys turn into a brilliant script. Then the fact that you're, known as a great actors director. All of this helped to attract an ensemble of actors who normally carry their own movie or TV show or Broadway production. Here they are, all kind of working in tandem, no clear lead. What was it like to be in a room where you've got Mark Ruffalo, Michael Keaton, Rachel McAdams, John Slattery, Brian Darcy James, Stanley Tucci, on and on and on? It's a pretty impressive group of people.
Yeah, it was. Remarkably, the cast came together pretty easily. A lot of these people I've known in some respect for a while, and so it was just sending scripts and emails, and the response. Ruffalo was first on almost overnight. I sent him a script. I said, I got this idea. I think we might have a project to work on together. He got back to me the next morning, and a lot of it followed like that. So one or two of the actors, like I didn't really know Keaton. I didn't know Michael. I obviously grew up watching him, but I didn't know him. So we had a meeting. Rachel McAdams was another one where we were all kind of brainstorming about who was right for Sasha Pfeiffer. I didn't have that idea, and I pride myself on normally having that idea. And I didn't with her, and I thought, wow, that's interesting. And I talked to my wife about it, and I watched some of her movies, and I sat down with her, and I just thought she was dead on, and it turned out to be a real pro, obviously, and a terrific actress, well deserved of her nomination. But you know, as a director, when you get a chance to work with not just those actors, but you keep going down the line, and guys like Billy Crudup and Jamie Sheridan and Paul Guilfoyle, these really great veteran character actors are just pros, and you know you're in good hands. And because they were all playing together, I think the reason the film works so well is you could sense their excitement of just being in the room together and challenging each other and pushing each other, and you could feel it on set. It was just a really exciting thing to watch.
Last question is this. Many films go out into the world. You can only gauge how they've done by reviews or box office, or that's how you gauge their impact. In this case, just in the last couple of weeks, there have been some incredible indications that the film is truly making a difference in the real world as far as improving the situation for people who have had to deal with this kind of stuff. And so I wonder if you can just share some of the things that have most excited you as far as...
You can go home and Google it. It's a really interesting story. One of the survivors who's been very outspoken in the fact that the council has not done enough has now been asked to step off the council. But it's created this whole kind of discourse that we as filmmakers feel like we're now engaged in a very public discourse about this event, which is very much ongoing. And I think that's the thing I can't stress enough. This isn't a problem of the past. This is obviously something that we're very much still dealing with today, and that's critical. That understanding is critical to make sure this doesn't happen again. Something that's around for this long doesn't go away overnight or in 10 years. And although what the Boston Globe and what they should forever be applauded for the great work that they did, I think the reach of cinema specifically, we can really feel that now. Not just in this country, but around the world. And that part is incredibly gratifying and really exciting, just to be engaged in that way.
Thank you so much for